Mm-mm-mm. It's my hey, one person. Go ahead and give me the thumbs up as you enter the room. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And say hi in the chat so I know who I'm talking to. It makes it very hard to engage when you see people lurking in the background. Hey, your pleasure. Did you go hit the thumbs ups? It's free. And please subscribe to my channel. For those who are coming in, so it is July the 3rd. I don't know why I thought that Monday would be considered the holiday, but I said, wait a minute, that's only if 4th of July fell on a weekend, so tomorrow is the holiday. So it's kind of funny when the holiday falls on a Tuesday or somewhat like in the middle of the week. Because that way, most of the time, family reunions is like 4th of July. So this year, I didn't go. I should have went, but there was some change in plans that I thought that I wasn't be able to do it. But oh well. I'll still be going to South Carolina in a couple of weeks. I just need to go to my doctor's appointment and also see if I could have my leave of absence extended until I want to get it extended till August. Then I'll go back to Amazon, but I also want to do a revision of my accommodation. So so maybe I could get an accommodation where I don't have to be on my feet all day, and I don't want to go and do the department I was in. I want to go. I want to do something different. So I'm gonna wait. All right, your pleasure. You didn't give me the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs. I appreciate it. Hey, y'all. Two people coming in the room. Come on in. Hit the thumbs. Go ahead and hit the like button. Hit something. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to wait for more people to come in before I start. And then I'll start in a few minutes. Get me some water. Take my vitamins. Did I take my vitamin today? I can't think. Let me see. I think I did take it already. I did take it. Not that it'll do anything. So I'm taking these prenatal vitamins. No, I'm not pregnant. Prenatal vitamins with DHA, which is prenatal vitamins is really good. You don't have to be pregnant to take prenatal vitamins. Actually, prenatal vitamins is good for anyone to take since it gives you way more optimum benefits and extra vitamins. So it's supposed to be good for hair growth, nail growth and just give you the minerals that's needed. So I said, rather than me buying a multivitamin, a friend of mine suggested taking prenatal vitamins. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I did. And I've been and bought this on Amazon online. Nature's Truth, and they had. So I'm gonna buy me some other vitamins on from this company on the website, collagen and some other stuff. But it's gonna be really good for growing your hair, your nails, skin. But I'm gonna get me some collagen. I have some other vitamins here, but apple cider vinegar. Even though, but anyway, wait a minute. Who the one person dropped off? Y'all just dropped off like that? Hmm. Okay, well, thanks y'all for the one who are they're probably either at work or y'all. Oh, you're back. Who's the second person on here watching me? It would be nice to know. Well, anyway, since it is pre 4th of July, tomorrow's 4th of July, I would assume um, a lot of places maybe be closing a little bit early. At least I know Sam's Club will be closing at 6. And today at Walmart Spark, I did it today. I didn't even leave the house until 3 o'clock, and I only had one delivery, which was for $19. Well, just round up $20, and then I had an extra $12 that was added today. I guess that was probably from a previous incentive or tip somewhere. So I made only $31.71. It was not busy at all. It was not. And even though I did take a brief break around 5:30ish or so, I was at the Sam's Club and I needed one more delivery from Sam's Club to get an extra $9 as an incentive. But the minute I came back to the Sam's Club, waited, the order pops up and it was immediately taken. First come, first serve. First come, first serve. And it was snatched up real quick. And then I saw one for Home Depot and that was snatched up real quick. And after that, I was waiting for a delivery. Even if it didn't come from the Sam's Club where I was at, I would thought it would come from some other place like Walmart or somewhere in the area. But it was slow. And after that, I just went inside the Sam's Club, you know, and then I waited for another hour. And then I went back to my car and I said, let me see if I'll get me another delivery around 7:20. Nothing. Nothing came from no other Walmart, no other Sam's Club or nothing. And so after that, I tried. So when 7:30 came, and I said, oh, okay, I ain't getting nothing. The Sam's Club closed at 8. But I would thought I would at least get another Walmart order somewhere. But today sucked. But I said, you know what? It probably wasn't going to be as busy anyway because um, I didn't work Sunday because I took a break and I needed to go and do my shopping. So I went to the farmer's market, bought me some vegetables. Hey, 3 people, go ahead, y'all, hit the thumbs up. You know what to do. Hey, 4 people, go ahead and punch in the clock. Punch it in. I want 4 for 4 for thumbs. Like, comment, and subscribe. I just started, so I didn't really say much of nothing. I was just saying that today was kind of slow for a Walmart Spark, but I did start a little. I did start late today. I didn't even get up this morning and did any deliveries, so it was around 3ish. After 3 o'clock, and I only had one delivery. Went to Had one delivery with 4 batches, All the customers, it was like 20 something miles total. Dropped off the package, real light, nothing big. And then I went back to the Sam's Club, waited to see if I had any more offers. But then the minute an offer came through, somebody snatched them up. So today was pretty slow. So I said, well, dang, if I woke up this morning, I probably would have got something. Okay, you driving but listening. Yep. Well, that's what I do. I normally get on, watch people YouTube channels, and I'll be listening. But anywho, it was a slow day today. Typically, when I do Walmart Spark on Mondays, it'd be pretty steady. But see, the thing is, I didn't start. If I had got up this morning, even if I had started at say 9 o'clock in the morning, I probably would have gotten at least three deliveries or three orders or gotten something, earlier in the morning. But for me to start so late on Monday around 4 o'clock or whatever it was, that was kind of late. So, anywho, that's how that went. So, you see the title 20,000 Reasons Why I'm Not going to Be Voting Democrat slash Biden for 2024. The 20,000 is the $20,000 student loan forgiveness that I would have qualified to have forgiven if it had passed. But of course, it didn't work out. So, when I first made that video about the student loan forgiveness and the $10,000 if you didn't get a Pell Grant, but if you had Pell Grant, it was 20,000, and how so many backlash of people came out the woodwork, started criticizing about why should people get their student loans forgiven? I paid all my off, and that's not fair, and this and that or whatever. You know what's not fair? I'm gonna tell you what's not fair. What's not fair is the ones who went and filed against it were companies who basically felt that they were going to not make any money and they were going to keep on scamming and lending, proprietary lending against those who felt they weren't going to get paid the money back. Now, first of all, $10,000, $20,000, that's nothing. Now, I can understand if you owed $5,000, $6,000 in student loans, then you would have been like, "Ooh, you would have been completely forgiven. You wouldn't have to worry about paying back that $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. But if you owed, say, six figures of student loans, that little $20,000 would have been just a drop in the bucket. If you still owed on student loans, and they just going to reduce your student loans by $10,000 to $20,000, and you've been paying student loans for the last 10 years, 15 years, or whatever, that little $20,000 would not have made such a big dent for someone who owes six figures of student loans. Even if you owe $80,000 in student loans, 70,000, 80, whatever, you're speaking about a small amount, because once if they would have forgiven it and they said, okay, we'll forgive, that would have been nothing compared to what the United States were giving out to foreigners, to Ukraine, paying money to migrants who came to New York, and they paying $1 million a day to keep people up in these hotels, keep people up with all sort of things. Or all that money they sent out there to fight wars or unsuccessful wars. That's nothing. People were talking about, well, it's just, if you forgive the student loans, it's just going to increase the United States debt. First of all, For all those people talk about what's not fair and nobody forced nobody to take no student loans and and whatever. That's a bunch of bull crap because it's amazing how people got so much to say about $10,000, $20,000 to forgive on the student loans. First of all, what's the average amount of money people took out to go to school? I could assure you, with the cost of education and the rising costs, it would have not have been no $10,000, $20,000. They act like that was going to wipe out millions of people to have zero balance due on student loans. A lot of people owed way more than some people owe. Most people, let me tell you, if you went to medical school, law school, and you factor in those people, you people had almost $250,000 or $500,000, 300, 400, $500,000 of student loans as you go higher up in the profession. You know, now I'm not talking now. What they should have done was if you graduated from college, you obtain your degree, MBA degree, bachelor's degree, whatever, and you finish your degree and you was working, but you still was paying on student loans, they should at least give they should have give those provisions. But it should have had it where if you didn't graduate from college, if you never finished school, if you dropped out and you just took out student loans and you just dropped out and you just got these student loans just to get student loans, because that's a lot of people did that. A lot of people went to college, went there 1 year, took out student loans, took out a lot of money to pay whatever, whether it be basic bills or buy a new car or try to, I'm gonna borrow money and I'm gonna start a business, and then and you didn't finish school with the intentions on getting a degree, and you just took out loans. It should not have been forgiven for people in that category. But for those people who talk about, um, well, I paid my daughter, she paid her student loans. How much student loans did you take out? How much did they take out? Some people didn't even probably take out nothing. I already paid off one of my loans. My Perkins loan, because there was a Perkins loan, then there's a subsidized loan. It was all government loans. I paid off when I first went to undergrad, and I transferred to USC in South Carolina. I didn't have no student loans when I was going to Baruch College. If I had just stayed in New York, didn't transfer, and stayed where I was at, I wouldn't have had no undergraduate student loans. It wasn't until I went to transfer to South Carolina I took out some student loans because I was considered out of state. I wasn't a resident of South Carolina, but it was an out of state tuition. And then, no, did I get out in state tuition? Hmm, I can't remember, but whatever it was, um, I did pay off my Perkins loan, and I consolidated all these little loans they give you. It was like 500, five. It was like a whole bunch of little loans. And I was like, dang, this is confusing. How do I pay off all these little loans? But I managed to do it. And then after that, fell up to some scam about, oh, you consolidate your loan. You can consolidate and make it easier to pay back. Fell in the whole scam. And then when I was working for the government, and they said, "Oh, someone told me about that. If you work for the government, you get your student loans forgiven." See, I worked at the IRS for over 10 years, and I stayed at that government job. And I remember calling the Susie Orman show. I was actually got a hold of it, and I said, "Should I, you know, I asked that question about the student loans. If you work for a federal government, whether you're a teacher, federal government, state government, and you because you're getting paid a low salary, because you don't get paid a lot of money depending on what federal agency you work for. Let me tell you, the IRS as an agency is one of the lowest paying G grades, especially when you in that customer service role. Is one of the lowest paying grades. So I said, well, I could stay and work for the government. You know, a lot of people say, oh, job security. You got job security. How you gonna leave the, you leave the IRS? We got job security. You get this and this. Fell for the boot, fell for it, stayed. And I said, well, I was paying off my student loans then. But see, I'm about to dispute something because when I first consolidated those loans, a good 2 years they didn't count. I'm like, what do you mean they didn't count it? I said, I sacrificed, stayed at the government, and you still had to pay your monthly student loans based on your income. You know, I can't pay over $1,000 something a month when which would have been made more than half of my total income for the month in student loans. You know, so when you hear people talk about that ain't fair, well, I paid mine off, I was paid mine off. Most of the time, they white, privileged. They not really having to struggle. I didn't have no parents. My parents and my parents, they didn't set up no college fund for me to go to college. Me or my sister. Not that I say my sister finished school, but she didn't. You know, I'm quite sure that, I got scholarships. Yeah, I did. I got scholarships. I got little assistance with the Pell Grant when I went to school. So when I got into this big old argument when I was a so-called live stream on somebody else's channel, I'm not going to mention this person's name because I'm not giving him no kind of clout, no kind of get my little 800 subscribers or whatever to go over there to listen. Y'all just have to, you know, he was this black guy and he was like, ain't nobody forcing no one to go to school. Why should they student loans get paid? They act like people act like $10,000 for people who have a federal student loan or $20,000. They act like that's gonna be like the brick fall over. No, all that is that big companies who are leashing over people who are predatory lenders sued, so they stopped it. And saying President Biden ain't got the right to do that. First of all, he should have never tied it in with the rescue plan, that $1 billion rescue plan. If you ever read that rescue plan bullshit, you should have seen some of the things that they were willing to pay. They were giving billions of dollars to several different countries, and I'm not talking about the Ukraine war. I'm talking about, if you really read that bill, there were a lot of things in that bill that was a bunch of nonsense. Nobody said nothing about that. Um Nobody said nothing about these big companies or individuals who started $1 million businesses or so-called $1 million businesses. They wrote that off in bankruptcy. People took advantage of the bankruptcy code. You took out business loans, you took out money from the bank, you had a business, you signed your name on those promissory notes that you'll pay back the banks. Nobody said nothing about when they filed bankruptcy. Okay, you can file bankruptcy and you can write back your debt. Before they changed the bankruptcy laws, people were able to have loans, took out money, and had their loans written off. Nobody said nothing about that. Who you think? So how is that any different than writing off $10,000, $20,000 on student loans that people owe six figures on. If I had only $10,000 of student loans, I would have been paid that off. I wouldn't even worry about, I wouldn't if I had $10,000 and I paid my student loans off way before they made this announcement. I wouldn't have been like, well, that's not fair. Why should they get their student loans forgiven? I should get mine forgiven too. I paid mine off in full. I would have been paid that thing off in full way before they even talked about forgiveness of student loans. I went to get my MBA degree from some not for profit school. Never did, never did get that type of assistance from the alumni to help me with my resume. I communicated with Capella for a long time. I even tried to apply to be a teacher or a professor or whatever. Not be a professor. I would have a PhD. I applied for positions at Capella University. I never got a position even within the company that I accumulated most of those debts from. And then in between then, there was a lot of places I went to that was for profit. I worked at the IRS and they was like, oh, you go to school and we have tuition reimbursement and they end up getting that money and scrammed. So I have 20,000 reasons why I would never vote Democrat or vote for Biden because the initial proposal was we'll do up to $50,000. I said 50,000. I said shoot, that was the original, promise he gave. He didn't have to go through no bill and pass no bill and no law. He could have took an executive order and with a stroke of his pen, he could have wrote it in and says, and wrote an executive order for that. And it would not have gone to the Supreme Court. It would not have been disputed if he wrote it as an executive order. There's a lot of things you could do. You don't have to go to Congress and pass a law and wait for the half of wait for a majority of the Senate and the House to pass anything. He could have took an executive order from the get go, and that would have been there wouldn't have been all this waiting around. You know, well, people, why didn't people pay no student loans when it was frozen? When they froze the student loans, yeah. When I tried to pay my student loans when they had stopped the interest and payment, and then they took the loan, they took the company who had the loan, trying to sell it to somebody else. So when I tried to make a payment, I said, why are these payments not going through? Because they were trying to shuffle the loan from all these different companies and put a block on it where they weren't taking the payments when it was interest free. Let's talk about that. Ain't nobody mentioned that. If anybody who's in a news outlet was to ever hear my video or see my video or see this little segment of what I'm stating, please forward it to someone that would probably look into that. You think that nobody wasn't trying to pay that student loan? I ain't say everybody was trying to, but they made it difficult to even pay back the loan. If you pay back the loan and you pay it off, it will they put so many provisions, so many stops. Even when somebody wanted to pay off their student loans while it was interest free, they made that as a difficult thing to do. So my 20,000 reasons, I'm not voting Biden. I'm not. I'm not voting Democrat. And I hate to say this, you know, with this same backlash, would that have been such a backlash if Trump had said the same thing? If Trump came and said, all right, I'm going to help our people, we're going to forgive 20 and $50,000 of student loans and forgive it, and we're going to start over and we're going to give people a chance. Would you think those companies would have sued and would have pursued that if Trump had said it? If Trump had said it, he wouldn't have. Trust me, he would have did an executive order. Everybody would have been happy. People would have been, ain't nobody said not a damn thing. Companies, and I've been listening to Dave Ramsey on his show, and you know, I like the show, but sometimes I really don't. But these people, I'm just giving him as example. That high almighty of those hosts on the Dave Ramsey show, um, you should have never relied on the government to pay and you sign your name on the dotted line. It was almost like you almost blasting people to even put hopes in wanting a $10,000 or $20,000 student loan forgiveness. Let me tell you, when that freeze was to end, they get that money back anyway. They would have got that money back anyway. If you did the conventional payment, it's 10 years, and they resume student loan payments to resume again, and you take off $10,000 or $20,000 off the loan, and you still have 60,000, whatever amount of money, and they resume the interest again, they would have recouped that interest from what they forgave. They would have recouped it right back. They would recoup the rate back within 5 years. They would have got all that money back that they paid out and forgave because they would have turned around and still charged interest on the balance. So I don't know what people talking about. Well, I ain't getting that money. I paid my loan off and I didn't get nothing back. Another thing that they changed was that at one point, if you were paying student loans, you was able to deduct interest when your tax return at one time. That's not a whole lot of money. That's why people talk about, I'm gonna buy me a house. I'm gonna buy me a house. And then they say I could, and they bamboozle people to say you could write off the interest you pay to buy a house on your taxes. That ain't that much money. That ain't that much. The real estate taxes that I pay on my mortgage, which I need to file my tax return this year because I didn't even do it. But every year as I'm paying off my mortgage, the standard deduction is it pairs out for single 10,950 or whatever this 12,250 or whatever the standard deduction is. That little bit of money, it would have only been about a couple $1,000s of lowering of the tax. So the mortgage interest that you pay, which you could claim on your taxes, they done away with that when they changed the tax code almost 7, 8, 9 years ago, whatever it was. So I don't know. So come next year, 2024, God willing, I ain't voting no Democrat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That Biden administration, all he did was lied, and people say, "Oh, but the vice president, vice president don't have no significance. That's just you know, that's just protocol, just in case something happened, and then that's it. Other than that, I'm not even gonna talk about Camilla. People, vice president never did nothing anyway. And the Democrats, I'm sorry, they haven't done much of nothing for us, for black folks, and particularly us. But everybody else coming in this damn country, everybody else coming in here, all these other countries getting all billions of dollars. Look at that. Look at the CARES Act. We were jumping around happy. People are happy about some stupid ass stimulus check. We get a stimulus. And I said it. I said all along from day, y'all know I said it from day one. I said, man, that's the worst thing they could have done. That was the worst thing they could have done. That didn't have no effect. Yeah, okay. That little, $2,000, whatever, 1,500. And I'm gonna talk about single. I ain't talking about the families. What did that do? All that did was drove up inflation. Drove up everything. Look what they bought. You know, 20. So my 20,000 reasons. Mm-mm. Yeah, they took $20,000 off the loan that I had. Yeah, I still would have owed a whole lot, but at the same time, I'm gonna have other alternatives. I still have some luck because I have 2 years or something based on my income base, and um, the income base plan. The 2 years would have um, fulfilled my obligations of my student loans, or if I went back and got a job with a nonprofit organization or federal government or state agency, then I would still qualify on some other ways to forgive the student loans. Because let me tell you, when you're working for a state, federal government, nonprofit organization, and you subject yourself to work with those type of organizations, after so many every month you work, you pay a certain percentage of your student loans, but you're sacrificing working more, say, at a more private sector where you get paid more money, because they always going to need police officers, firemen, and people in the public sector. And they always going to need certain people in certain federal or state level sector. And then you working. What they should have done was that if you graduated with a degree, that they should have at least said, we'll forgive those student loans up to those amounts. If you didn't never finish school, never finished college, never finished a degree, no, they should not have put that a group of people in that group. Because I'm quite sure there would have been millions of people that would not have qualified right off the bat. Did you go to college, and did you finish? You think that when people went to school, especially if you're Gen X like me, that you think that when people went to college at that time in that generation, the whole big push was you had to go to college to get a better job and go to college. You know, they stress college, but now this Gen X and parts of millennial people say you ain't to go to college. They the main ones flapping their damn fucking lips about something. I wouldn't have never majored in no major like that. I would major in something I know I get paid. That's another thing. People think that because you think you go to school for nursing, or if you go to school for IT, or you go to school for computers, that you think you're guaranteed to make six figures. No, you don't. You can go to college and go to school and major in those high demand field. Most of the time, you have to deal with a lot of factors to even get in a position. Just because you think you think you major in the right degree, that you think when you come out you automatically you're gonna be picked up. No, that's not true. That's not even true. The most billionaires and the people with the most and a lot of people, the most successful people, even if you look at the ones who are, movies, where TV stars, movie stars, you know, they went, like particularly black ones. I can talk to black people. We went, they went to Howard Performing Arts School and stuff, and they said, oh, they went to Howard, and they, it's a lot of people who went HBCUs. They went to college, and then they want to do acting, and they said they went to Howard. P Diddy went to Howard. When I went to college, I remember when P. Diddy started, when he came out and about in New York, he was one of those executives for whatever that person name was. I can't remember. He died. Y'all know who I'm talking about. not LaFace Records. Was it LaFace Records? Well, anyway, P Diddy, he's 50. Oh, let me see. I'll be 55 this year. Diddy is 54. Or we might be the same age. Or he might be a little bit older. I know he's not younger. I know he's a little bit older. When he grew up in Yonkers in New York, went to college, went to Howard, went there for what, 1 year, 2 years maybe? I don't even think he went 2 years. I think he went there 1 year and he dropped out and then he was executive and he didn't rise up to the top like that. But there was a lot of I'm not that's just one example. And look where he's at now. Look what he done. Because one, college wasn't for him. He hustled and did, Jennifer Lopez. We went to the same college. We went to Baruch College. I always told people that I met Jennifer Lopez back in the day when we were freshmen in college, and we used to hang out and stuff. I mean, I wasn't saying we were close like this, but I remember we were both freshmen in college, and she was from the Bronx too, and you know, she went to college, Baruch College at first. Then she said she's gonna be on one of the Fly Girl dances. Then she went on to, I wouldn't have finished school myself personally, but but you come from a family where they stress education. You got to go to college. Oh, you got to go to school. Mm-mm. But I always said if I had to turn the clock back, I would have went on to the army like I initially wanted to. Even when I finished 2 years of school, I would have went on to the army. But no, I let my uncle. You can't. You gotta finish school. You gotta finish college, and then Mm-mm. But see, back then it was different. Now, and then when you think about the affirmative action, the Supreme Court passed that rule about affirmative action. You can't based on the admissions of colleges on race, but it was only two particular schools, North Carolina and University of Michigan. But you know what impact that would have? That only going to affect black folks, people of color. You know, they're already not going to have an advantage to be admitted. And it's not saying you should be based on someone's admissions on their race, but it's not going to be as diversified or diverse. Schools, public schools, universities not going to be as diverse in the student body. And then it's going to hurt. No, initially it's going to hurt more of those historically black colleges, universities. A lot of those schools, you know, went under. A lot of schools that smaller schools, they're going to be non-existent in the next 10, 20 years, if not sooner, because they don't, because the younger people, this generation, Gen X, not Gen X, what do you call it? Not even say millennials, because the millennials are in the 40s at this point. But that Gen Y, whatever they want to call them, they ain't interested in going to no college. They're not interested. They want to be YouTube stars and TikTok videos and do all kind of crazy stuff. But and then um there's so many of these programs that want to say, well, you don't need to go to college, you can learn this, and they're gonna charge an arm and a leg to go or learn. The things that we're entering a new age of AI. A whole new skill set is going to be needed to learn. That's why I'm trying to learn new skills now. But, I'll be 55 years old this year. I'm not trying to go into a whole new career life. I mean, yeah, I want to do something, I want to enhance on my skills. Yes, I want to go into um, something more IT related, but I want to be able to contribute my skills that I have, but also build on my skills. but I don't have to go to a university or college to do so. Most of these positions and jobs and stuff they have, you really don't need to go to a college or university. Even the ones, the most successful people in this world, Mark Zuckerberg and all these, big people who went to Harvard and Howard and all these schools, most of them went there initially and they dropped out. They give them honorary degrees because if they give them some money. But other than that, mm-mm. This younger crowd. One thing I can say for sure, even when I speak to my nieces, the ones that one went to the Navy, one went to the Marines, and they told my sister, "Mama, why should I go spend all that money for education when they could pay?" And they one went to the Marines. Let the armed services pay for them to go if you want to go to school. They send you to school anyway for whatever your MOS is going to be, and it made sense, you know. And then people thinking that, oh, there's scholarships. Yeah, you could. You have to plan 2 years, maybe when you're in your freshman in high school, junior in high school. You need to start planning about looking for, applying for scholarships and things like that. But even when you apply for scholarships to go to college, they say you ain't got to take out no student loans. You could go and get a scholarship. You got to pay taxes on that damn scholarship. You know that you getting a scholarship, yes, it's good. You could go, but they changed the education and tax credits with that too. That was the most complicated thing. That one of the things that we have to answer when people need help about that issue about the education tax credit, when those tax associates would call us for help, even when I was a tax associate for those first 2 years at TurboTax, um, there was a lot of things we had to go over with people when it came to that tuition, the 1098T with the form. If they got a scholarship, if your parents could claim them as a dependent, but then if the student made over 10,000, whatever amount of money it was, I don't know these exact figures. I'll have to, you know, I could quote to y'all exactly if any when it comes time to talk about taxes and stuff again. But there was a lot of things you had to do with the education tax credit just because you got scholarships. See, a lot of people like to post on the damn news outlet 17-year-old da 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 got accepted to 100 schools da 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 da, and he got $1 million worth of scholarships. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's cute, no. But one thing they fail to tell people, okay, he got $1 million worth of scholarship money, but you think that was just free? No, it was not. It wasn't just free. It was not. That's one thing that people need to realize. Just because and all these changes they make, all these changes they made, all these things they've done, you know, the government ain't. The last time I checked, the government wasn't giving out no more Pell Grants, not to the point of helping people go to school. They said, oh, they had work study. I did work study. Yeah, I did work study and stuff. But mm-mm. When they said that was shut down, I said, okay, whatever. You know, I'll still, I'll have my plan. I'll have a plan, but at this point, I paid those student loans tenfold. The many years I've been paying on that dang loan, oh, paying it. You know, I'm almost finished paying my mortgage. More so than I finished paying off my student loans. It's what 2023 now. I had what 6 years, 7 years, I think, to pay off my mortgage. I think it's less than that. Let me see, 14. It's 6, 7 years, and then don't let me get an increase in my pay and salary. I'm about because once I pay off that SUV, I'm trying to pay that off real fast by paying extra every month. Wells Fargo, they're not gonna get me for no 30 years to pay no mortgage. I said, hell to the no. I was not gonna be 70 years old paying on no damn mortgage. I know that for sure. So right before I turn 60 or right under 60, my mortgage will be finished paying off. God willing. And then as for the SUV, the car, I'm finished paying that off early too. But hold up, y'all. I'll be back. Yeah. All right, I'm back. I don't know where Charlie at. Dang, calling that cat. He ain't even. He probably somewhere. Who knows? But anyway, that's my 20,000 reasons. I'm not voting Democrat, and I'm voting for Biden. You know, it's like all the all the waste of time of as a people being jaded by these Democrats. No more. No more giving up the vote without nothing in return. You know, not gonna do it. Not gonna waste my time and efforts. Mm-mm. Nope. Only thing I'm gonna do when it comes to that is start leaning more. Not to say the Republicans are any better, or maybe just be an independent. Don't even vote for none of them. Just go be independent. but no more voting on the lines of based on race or based on saying, oh, ain't president racist. All of them are racist. That is not a reason. That's not a reason to vote for someone because you think the other side, Trump, being oh, he was a racist. I wonder what would have happened in the world if Trump was the president. What would have really happened? Because I'm gonna say one thing, and then I'm gonna end the video because y'all ain't participating. When I worked at the federal government, we had always gotten raises, good raises, when the Republicans were in office. The minute a Democrat became president, Democrat came in office, all of a sudden, I ain't gonna say all of a sudden, when Democrats were in office, there were freezes on federal jobs. You will put a 10-year hold freeze on federal jobs. We're only going to give a 1% increase in the pay. We're gonna have a government shutdown, even though we still gonna pay y'all, but we shut down the government, but you ain't getting paid at the time, but we still need y'all to come to work. All of that happened under a Democratic administration. Republicans were in office, they had no shutdown. We had one of the highest increases in pay. They ain't had no issues like that. I didn't focus on here racist, fell for the bamboozle. I remember when I first turned 18, Jesse Jackson was running for office. And the only reason why we got all hyped up with Jesse, Jesse, run, was because he was black. He had nothing to do about what his policies were. What was his agenda? What was he going to do? No. And I'm asking, and same thing with President Obama. I didn't vote for President Obama initially when we had the runoff between Hillary Clinton and Obama. I did not vote for him. I was like, who is he? Who is he? Okay, he's a senator in Illinois. But see, I'm not saying he was a bad president, but I mean, it would have been the perfect opportunity for President Obama to do a lot of changes, but he didn't do it. A lot of people say, well, he was stopped by the Congress and, he couldn't do anything and he had a lot of ties with Congress. But you know what? He had executive order. He could have wrote a lot of things with the stroke of his pen. With the stroke of his pen, a lot of things could have been done. He had to go to Congress and wait for the vote. He could have exercised his executive order, but didn't. And all he said, I remember this one black guy was neighbor right down the street. I can't remember that. I don't even know that man's name. I remember when Trump won, he was happy as a damn lark. And the only reason why he wasn't particularly voting for President Obama is because of his stance on the LGBT with marriage equality. Because he was inclusive with the rights of LGBT. A lot of people didn't like that. But I said, you know what? Putting in gay marriage, that was the least of the problems, to be honest. And, I could care less. I could care less. That was not that. It was not that issue. That was not the most important thing in the world. Because the only people who were affected with LGBT in terms of marriage and stuff, you see, it was a whole bunch of white folks. Every time I see black gay people, whether it be gay or lesbian, you don't see they're not two black people together. You always see them with a white man or a white woman. You may see them with another black woman, but you don't hear. But they don't put it out there for all the world to see. They keep it private. Just like Queen Latifah and her wife, they kept that, kept that quiet. She didn't make that as a focus on her career. Everybody knew. Everybody knew, but that wasn't no big thing. Only time it became such a, because Hollywood is controlled mostly by gay white men anyway. That wasn't gonna stop monkey, no show monkey, no show ain't gonna, no one monkey gonna stop the show. However that damn expression goes, you know. That's least of the issues, you know. Mm-mm. Now you're gonna say, what the hell is it got to do with 20,000 ways of not voting? Because I just went on a big old tangent, went all off the left field about what I'm talking about. But all I know is this: I'm just gonna end it here because it's over an hour. That student loan forgiveness that was shut down by the Supreme Court, in addition to the affirmative action that was shut down as well, that's only a reflection of the world changing, where the more lesser race in terms of numbers in the next decades or so is to keep people of color down. Hey, Brian McDonald, that's all that is. All that is just keeping people of color and or black folks in general, to keep them down. And I'm not saying we should have relied on the government to do anything, because ain't nobody relying on no government. This is about doing something that you promised that you would do. And it ain't like somebody it ain't like they gotta get their money back. I'll tell you that. They took $20,000 off that student loan debt and they resumed the interest to be accruing after that, they would have got that money back in 5 years. Unless you had money right then and there to pay that thing off immediately, they would have made that money way back. My thing is this: for those people who screaming and hollering and talking stupid about it ain't fair, I paid my student loans. But I bet you when you file bankruptcy for that business loans that you wasted millions of dollars on a failed business, and you signed for that business loan, and then you file bankruptcy, they wipe that out. What about that? Don't even get me on the businesses who's doing it. Let's talk about those individuals. Dave Ramsey, you promoting about your responsibility, and it's a social responsibility that you pay off your student loans, and you should pay on your loans if you owe it. But God damn it, 20 years ago, when you had took all those loans, how old is he? He's 60 something. 30 years ago, whatever it was, you had your business loans forgiven and filed for bankruptcy. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. I'm not talking about big corporations. Let's talk about these individuals who took out business loans, failed, couldn't pay, and got those business loans filed bankruptcy. Nobody ain't say nothing about that though. Y'all want to be quiet about that. And don't get me about that PPP mess that people were doing. When they ask me, you want the PPP loan? No, I don't want the PPP loan. No, no. I can't promise you I'll pay it back in 15 years. So no, I'm not interested in no PPP loan. When they gave out all that, when they gave money out for that stimulus, nobody had a shit to say. If you were such a moral person and you thinking, well, it's your responsibility, you pay your student loans, why should you get forgiven for $20,000? And yeah. What about those who finished, who went to school, worked 2 jobs, still work, study, still got a little bit of money to help pay for school, and then had to have a place to live, food to eat, and then had to take out student loans because they was under the impression that, oh, getting a degree, you can move on in the world. People act like it depends on what you majored in. Just because you major in something do not mean that you guaranteed to get a job. I'm gonna tell you that. Just because you think you went to school for computer science and you didn't even learn nothing, because I've taken courses when I took those basic computer science courses. Ain't none of those courses prepared you to go in the world. I did internships. I did the whole 9 yards to gain experience. The whole 9 yards. So for those who want to talk about, I pay my student loans up. I ain't had to pay them. I ain't had to pay. Man, show me your student loans and see how much you paid. That little $2,000 that you take, and then y'all want to be high or mighty on the damn horse. I pay my student loan, but yeah, you paid. You only had a loan of $2,000. But then you come on social media telling about, you know, I ain't paid mine off. Man, shut up. I bet you did deep enough with a lot of these people. They be like, well, so and so filed for bankruptcy twice. What about all those? What about all those obligations that you didn't pay? Let's talk about that. Put a feather in your hat and stick it up your ass because I don't want to hear nobody come in here arguing with me. Show that. Please show that. You know, I'm sick and tired of people. They'll be high or mighty and unrighteous about that. People took out some people, and I'm not even talking about companies. I'm talking about individuals. These same individual people who get up there talking that mess. I paid my loans off. Okay, but what about the millions of loans you took out for a business, some bogus BS business? You owe your creditors, and then you talk about I'm filing for bankruptcy, and then they go to court and they dismiss it, and you ain't paying that back. Now, if you went to college and you dropped out and you took out loans so you could start your own music business or whatever business, some people did that. A lot of people did that. They went to college and they just took out the money and the loans and they think they were trying to flip that money and do whatever they wanted to do, and they dropped out of college and they owe that loans. Some people had loans under their parent loan. Parents can't even the parents was not even qualified to get the 10,000 or $20,000 if it was a parent loan. My parents did not take out one nickel when I went to college, not one. I have an aunt for three cousins of mine. Now I ain't gonna say their names. They went to college. One went to Virginia Tech, one went to University of Virginia, the other one went to University of Connecticut. My aunt was a teacher in Evander Childs High School. That's what the name it used to be. And none of them graduated from college. All of them dropped out, every single one of them. And then got the nerve, one of them, the oldest one who started it, I didn't want to go there anyway. I didn't want to go to Virginia Tech. I didn't want to go to, she didn't want to go there anyway. That loans, none of those student loans were taken out in none of my cousins' names. All of them was in my aunt's names. But they thought they were better than all the other people, and they all dropped out of college. None of them finished. I don't know if my aunt finished paying up those loans with them, but I didn't even ask because I would have been embarrassed to have three kids. All of them went to the top schools, high SAT scores, and all of them dropped out. I'm just curious. I'm just a fly in the wall, just curious to see did they ever paid for those loans that they took out, that my aunt took out for them to go to school. My aunt was a school teacher, but that's a whole different story altogether. Well, anyway, that's my rant. Thank y'all for the 8 thumbs ups. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be on tomorrow with another rant. I'll probably put down why I do not celebrate 4th of July and why I did not celebrate Juneteenth. That probably lose my subscribers if they'll hear what I had to say about that, about those two Independence holiday. I'm gonna find me another way of celebrating 4th of July. Not what most people think. See, they already blowing up firecrackers and stuff. I hope it rains tomorrow. Hope it rains tomorrow night so they don't have to set up these dang fires. I hate it. It's not as fun anymore. People act like a damn fool. But anyway, y'all have a good one. You know what? I'm gonna call 4th of July celebration for Black folks a different way. I'm gonna find me a black hero who had, what was it? What's his name? The one in Boston that he was one of the first black men die for the Revolutionary War. Christopher, what his name? You don't know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna find honor in those who were never really given credit for the freedom of black folks. Because black people were not freed when 4th of July came about. I tell you that. Juneteenth, that ain't nothing more than some white man riding on a horse that went to Texas to let them know 2 years after slavery ended that they were freed. I don't see what's so good to celebrate Juneteenth. Some white man on a horse that said that we were free 2 years after in Texas. There ain't nothing to celebrate. Shoo, there ain't nothing to celebrate that. And that's another thing. There were many proclamations, emancipation proclamations, not just the one that Lincoln signed either. If people know about their history, you really know. So I'm going to celebrate Juneteenth because some white man from the Union Army went to Texas to notify black folks that we were freed when it was free, when the proclamation of the end of slavery was 2 years prior to that. I ain't celebrate Juneteenth either. They made it a federal holiday. That's the only thing Biden did. You made this Juneteenth a federal holiday. Stupid ass. He should have fell off that fucking stage when he fell 50 billion times. That man, I don't know what's wrong. I know this video probably get flagged for hate. They say, oh, flag that video. Ridiculous. Yep, that's it. Christmas addicts. Thank you, AB. That's what I'm going to call my holiday, 4th of July. Christmas Addicts Day. That's our 4th of July. That's what I'm going to call it. That man died during the Revolutionary. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to make that a holiday for us. Christmas Addicts. Thank you, AB. I was thinking about that. I said, what the hell that man named? That's what I'm going to call it. Shoo. Let's honor that. Only thing white folks want to talk about is the flag, the USA flag. All they want to do is drink beer and have barbecues. They could care less about it. They're not really honoring the freedom. That's the only reason they honoring. To be a bunch of drunk ass people. Because every year I used to do the Peachtree Road Race. I ran it one time. I'm gonna show you my medals tomorrow. I'm gonna put my medals out there, show you my little Peachtree Road Race and some pictures when I did it a few years ago. But every year I used to volunteer for the Peachtree Road Race. So I won't be doing it this year. I didn't register. I usually volunteer, hand out the water or whatever, but I didn't register to do it. So, but anyway, I'm going to probably do some Walmart Spark deliveries tomorrow. I'm going to try to get up in the morning and probably stop around 2 o'clock because I don't think it's going to be as busy. It was not busy today. I only made $31, and the only reason why I made $31 or $33 was because $12 was paid to me from a previous days, but I only had one delivery, and I had went to 4 customers. Was it 4? No, I went to 5, and that was it. It was 1998, $20, and after that, but I started late too, so I started about 3:30 ish. Yeah, let me see. I started about 3:30 ish. So I'm gonna see if I could get up in the morning, see if anybody, if I get any orders. I try to at least do about 5 deliveries a day. But most of those, when I do the 5 deliveries, I usually have more than one customer in a batch. So, anyways, I'm just gonna spend half of my day tomorrow. Get up in the morning, see if I get some deliveries. I don't know if it's gonna be busy though. I doubt it. I doubt it. All right, AB. I appreciate y'all. Please hit the thumbs ups so you can help on the algorithm. And y'all stay safe tomorrow. But like I said, I'm trying to get up early in the morning before it gets extremely hot because I think it's going to rain tomorrow. Let me look and see. I do not like to be all that booming noise all night long. I'm like, God dang, can somebody go to sleep? And then I don't like fireworks, to be honest. I'll be thinking they could get onto your, somebody's house gonna get burnt down because I don't like it's too hot. And one time it was so hot in Atlanta, in Georgia rather, they put a limit about doing fireworks a few years ago because it got so hot. They was like, They said no, no, because it start getting hot. It's not. That's why I'm looking for Charlie now. And if you have a dog, they said the best thing you could do if you have a dog is to put him in the bathroom. Is to put him in the bathroom in the bathtub because not with water in it, but put him in the bathtub and they got that hollow. It was you don't get as much noise in the bathroom. That's what I heard. That's what I read. So you keep them and hold them and calm them down and put some earplugs in them. Really, put something on their ears so they won't hear it. So I'm trying to find where Charlie at. Charlie, he'll come sneaking up later on tonight. He probably sitting outside under a tree. Charlie don't go too much, don't go too far. But that's not good for animals and not good for dogs in particular. All that booming noise, disturbing the damn animals and disturbing me. It's too hot. That's where he at. It's not raining now, but it's not raining now. He was here because when I got home, he was downstairs. He probably sitting on my chair, probably not my office chair. He probably sitting downstairs, chilling under the table, just or watching or looking out the window, the cool breeze. Yeah, Charlie he be doing some stuff, y'all. I could be sitting here. If I look out the if I look out the window and I said, Charlie, where you at? He comes speeding out of nowhere. I'm like, what you doing over there? Trying to make it sound like out there keep threatening I'm gonna give him a human bath, but he don't wanna. I said, you gonna get this oatmeal bath. But he see me with that shampoo and He'll look up and he see me coming in that other he see me doing something, he knows what's up. Then he come running. They'll have some let me tell you something. I went to damn Sam's Club. They had a big old box of different fireworks, $198. I'm like hell. If you think I'm gonna spend $198 on all these different fireworks, they must be crazy. I didn't even go to the stand, the fireworks stand. Every corner got a fireworks. I say it's amazing how people buy all those damn fireworks, but then when they got the nerve to order food, they ain't got $2 to tip. But y'all got money for fireworks. You know, what happened back in the day? My grandfather used to love some fireworks in South Carolina. He used to buy those little cheap things like and the firecrackers. And my grandfather, he was like, he got firecrackers. That's he's a firecracker. Man, it'd be like, it'll be nowhere close to no dang hundred something dollars. I think it was even, I don't think he spent more than $10 on firecrackers. He'd buy whatever, and that would be it. We had fun though. We sure did. Had that fire in the backyard, and I know one day my mother was in the backyard. She was doing firecrackers, but we used to do that right there in the backyard. That was so fun. And had the little rockets. I know. I know. Which state is it illegal to have fireworks? Was it Georgia? No, I think Georgia always had it. I know South Carolina had it. Was it? Yeah, it was certain states you couldn't buy firecrackers. No, fireworks, rather. Okay. Well, you know what? They did stop it one year because it was hot, hot, humid hot. And they said, nope. Yeah, Tennessee and that. Yep. You had to go to Tennessee or Alabama. It's amazing how they would want to pass that, but they still ain't. And well, they did pass the lottery, so mm, I ain't spending no $200 worth of no dang fireworks. They had all those different things they would have. I know, my subdivision. They said you cannot fire no fireworks near the clubhouse or the property with the HOA fees. So I don't think people could get in no HOA. Well, I don't know. They weren't supposed to fish in that lake for people to still be parked on the side of the dang road. I'd be calling the cops. I know I was telling myself, excuse me, but there's no fishing in this lake. But who are you? The homeowner and the person who pay HOA fees. That's who it is. I ain't paying no damn fees for y'all to be coming in there. This ain't no public lake. Sure do. I don't give a damn. I'll pay your HOA fees for y'all to go up in there and be fishing. Man, you better get on. You better go up to that thing Lawrenceville or someplace where you could have public fishing, and you could do that. Why you gotta go on the private property of the homeowner association? The homeowners pay for that. We can't even go fishing outside of the if you outside of the clubhouse where you go fishing on the deck. I didn't know why people don't even go in there and get fishing up there. There ain't no big fishes in there. And if they did, we sure didn't. I don't remember them saying they filled it with more fish. But shoot. So I know they nobody better not be at that clubhouse near inside the in 5 hour call. People say you being a You being a Karen. I'm not being a fucking Karen. I'm not being a Karen. Why should you go on a property that I pay HOA fees and doing something you're supposed to be doing? And then when something burnt down or break down, they're gonna want all of us to pay for the repair or replacement. I'm like, mm-mm. So I sure do tell, nope, get out from there. Somebody fall in that lake, then who's gonna be responsible? No, get the hell on, move on. You don't live here. Because it was white folks. If I lived in Johns Creek, Alpharetta, in those white neighborhoods, those places I used to go to do deliveries, and those beautiful areas, you got to get in. You got to show your driver's license before you could even get in the property. I had to do that several times so far. You got to stop, show your driver's license. They got to call the homeowner for them to even get in that community. They didn't play that. They did not play that. So, because it's too dangerous with those fireworks, and all it takes is to catch a tree and it be on fire. That's another thing I keep hearing a lot too. 4th of July coming, shooting up those fireworks, and I could be laying down in bed and I hear the fire truck. I'm like, oh God, somebody got their house there burned down. Or somebody, I can't stand it. It is not safe. If you want to see fireworks, go up there to Lenox Mall and Centennial Olympic Park. Or better yet, Stone Mountain. I don't even know why I say all that. I could go one exit, not even a mile, and I could see the fireworks right there at Stone Mountain Park. Stone Mountain Park, right there in my backyard. If I want to see something, I just go outside and look and be like, "Oh, look at that!" Because I didn't buy my pass this year. I may buy one this year. And you go to Stone Mountain Park and you can see all the fireworks and all the things. One day I'm gonna take y'all there. I'm gonna buy me a pass and I'm gonna go on live and go up there one evening to sit there near the lake and just show y'all the beauty. All right, I'm about to go to bed now. I feel hot and I want to lay down. All right, AB, thanks again. D's nuts, your pleasure. Who else I'm thinking is on here? Maybe Dorian. Hey, Brian McDonald. All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I will come on tomorrow night. See what y'all up to. I would say happy 4th of July, but no, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say happy Crispus Attucks Day. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it Crispus Attucks Day. In honor of our fallen black brother who believed in the revolutionary of black people need to be free, and Native Americans too. Anybody else that I'm missing that's African American that was part of the American Revolution? Maybe I need to. I know it was another black woman. She was one of the first people who was really credited with the flag. That's an interesting story too. I heard about that story a few years ago and did some little research on it. That was interesting. So until they honor all Americans and part of the American Revolutionary, particularly free African American slaves or free Africans, our ancestors, and part of this celebration for 4th of July, that's the part I want to honor because we were not freed. We were not part of that. But at the same time, we did a lot of contributions for the Revolutionary War. And that's what I love about it. But it's not about drinking beer. It's not about having a bunch of barbecues. That ain't what it is. It's nice, but but that's not what it's about. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. I'll be on tomorrow. See y'all.